they're really welcome. Today, what a treat for you. I'm in Warnford today, which is in Hampshire. And we're at a place called St John's House, which is a medieval hall, one that not many people actually know about. So actually, you know, it's quite nice to actually see one that not many people have visited. But today we're properly going to look in the history of it. So enjoy your history lesson, because it's definitely worthy of one. And it might not be the biggest ruin you're ever going to see, but trust me when I say this, it's a very special one for lots of different ways. So enjoy your history lesson. Let's go check out St John's Hall. Come on. Situated in Warnford in Hampshire lies a ruin that really is a thing of beauty and is also very well hidden. Known as St John's House but also as King John's House, the ruin is a former medieval hall built around 1210, made of flint and stone dressings. It was probably built by Adam de Port around the time of King John, hence that version of the name. But Adam's son William changed his surname from de Port to St John when he married into a rich family of the same name, so the hall would most commonly be known as St John's House. Essentially, it was a large hall with 4 pillars around 25 foot in height, and even the hall having a stairway that gave an upper level on the west side, so at the time you can imagine how beautiful it really looked. Over time, with different ownership, when during the 15th century a mansion was built on the site, the hall wasn't really to a standard befitting the wealth of the owners, so the hall would become abandoned and would be used as a barn from the late 16th century until it was ruined in around 1780 to enhance the appearance of Capability Brown's designed park, namely Warnford Park. Now the hall has been given Grade 1 listed status and is definitely worth a visit should you be in the area. I mean, you know what? It's always nice when you get a surprise of what scale entails, and what is left is remarkable, really. Obviously, hopefully you enjoyed your history lesson. Obviously, it talks about the house, hall, really, medieval, as we know, and really the fact that the pillars, or the foundations originally of the pillars, still survive. Because we're in the hall now. So there's only 2 sections, really. With obviously a few entrances. We've got this section here, and then as we sort of walk around what I sort of showed you, it's just so pretty. Every sort of single wall that you have is absolutely remarkable. And then behind us is Our Lady of Warnford, which you sort of saw, and we've done a video on a really interesting tale of that as well, which is brilliant. But as I stand here, right in the centre of the hall, you can imagine at one phase of its life this would have been a remarkable place to have spent some time into, and the stories these walls could have told. Now I've got to admit, not that I always claim to I'm not that sort of like spiritual in that way, but I don't get any funny feelings. In fact, actually the feelings that I do get are actually of like genuine joy and happiness. And it's beautiful. There's something about it. You walk through and you're like, oh wow, like really does, you know, even though it's just a really for intensive purposes, we stand in the corner, I mean it's just an outer wall with some pillars, but it's where it's located, you know, beautiful Warnford, which is really nothing these days. We're by a footpath which takes us on this journey, and it's absolutely wonderful. And even on a semi-gloomy day today as we're recording this, autumn has hit. You see the beautiful leaves on the ground. It is still a fantastic place to visit. Really is. Yeah, amazing. Okay everybody, there's a couple of treats that I'm going to show you, but the first thing I wanted to take you to is the information board. Now it's always nice to see a really clear and concise information board. Now you've had your history lesson, so potentially this is going to pretty much tell you everything you needed to know. And obviously the images that we've used as well. Thankfully there's some beautiful images which you saw, but what this gives you is an artist's impression of really what it was. Again, nothing by all intents and purposes to look at a medieval hall, but what a beautiful one in construction of what it's left us, and wonderful really. And then we've got, as it says, the park surrounding St John's House was once known as Belmont, which is over there. Which sort of, it feels a bit weird when you come here. It's a beautiful place, but obviously that's all private, really. People live here, and this really gives us a question of where we are. So obviously we see that we're Southampton. There we are near West Meon. Remarkable, beautiful place I've wanted to come to for ages, really, and I wanted to sort of tie it up because, like I said, there's a wonderful little story attached to the church next doors. But this is the other thing I wanted to show you. So there are some etchings in here, and you can see, wow, look at that, 1789. There we go. Look at that, 1789. And it's just on this little bit here, which is predominantly where, well, look at that, BB 1984. It's coming out really clear on this camera, which is good. Isn't that wonderful? Just on this little bit, it's the only bit I can sort of see that's got majority of sort of like etchings. We're going to say etchings, scribblings, people's names, initials. Look at that, I love that one. I don't know if we can see them. Sometimes I think it actually comes out better in the camera. I'm not really sure what that says. Sure, people out there watching be screaming, going, I don't know what that says. I know them initials. There's an SL there, for example. Look at that. Loads. 1891, if you can believe that. Looks a little bit more modern than that, to be honest, but who knows. There's one at 2024. There we go. Carved in chalk. Look at that. Isn't that just so pretty? It's just, as you walk around, you just sort of see these little hidden details that are within this that really bring it home as to how beautiful this place was at one period of time, and how, like, again, the stories that this could have told. Look at that. Honestly, I always say, like, sometimes it doesn't matter about how gloomy the day is, it's the fact that you're out, you're exploring, and you're getting to watch it. And I know that people out there who watch this channel, even if you're not necessarily capable of coming out, hopefully these videos do bring you a little bit of comfort and just sort of seeing some places that, you know, you might not have been able to see. So really hope that's sort of like a bit of a dedication or shout out to the people who do watch my channel who might not have access as much. Obviously for me it's kind of a strange one because I literally dedicate my life to this channel now, really, outside of work. So along with my anxiety and my mental health, I'm, you know, learning to pace myself as best as possible. But when you come here, it just makes it all worth it, you know, really does. So really the only other thing I wanted to talk about was, which isn't here, so it's quite difficult to sort of pertain, but originally there would have been a well around here somewhere. Probably around here, I think, was located from the map, which obviously isn't here anymore. And you can also imagine that actually the floor that we're standing in, see, it just says Snowdrop Walk. There you go, open Sunday afternoons in February. Beautiful, I can imagine that. Just wanted to show you some other little bits here. Beautiful etching there, if you can see that. Look at that. Really pays to look at the walls and the features within them. Look at that, so stunningly pretty, isn't it? Window. But yeah, what I was going to say was obviously what we went through, which is one of the entrances, partitions, it says partition to go in. Originally there would have been some steps, so actually, which is quite, we have to always note anyway, really, that the level that we're on really wasn't the level back then. In fact, it would have just gone a couple of steps down into it and you would have dropped into this. And and obviously over time as well, because of the condition of the walls, and we've seen this a lot, especially on medieval structures, they don't hold well over time to heat or anything like that. Normally they crumble and they can start to fall apart a bit. So a lot of this, so a lot of it, some of it, most of it has been obviously modified to protect it and to shore it up as best as possible, so the ruin as it is now doesn't become more ruinous. I think will probably be the best analogy for it. Look at this though, I just absolutely stunning this. There's a tiny little ruined hall. It's definitely a wonderful one, and like I said, the atmosphere here is a beautiful atmosphere for whatever reason. I sort of pick up a beautiful vibe about this place. Nothing spooky or haunted considering it's right next to a wonderful church in its own right. There you go. Well, look, as I wander around aimlessly, just taking it all in, realising that at my age now, got to make the most of these opportunities whilst I'm here. There you go. Well, it's time to say goodbye. In the immortal words of Phoenix history, thank you so much for coming along with me. Hopefully you really enjoyed this wonderful little ruin, St John's House, St John's Hall, King's House, whatever. Stay tuned for some more interesting videos along on the channel, obviously, as you know. And thank you so much for your support and your love and your kindness. More importantly, it goes a real long way on my channel, as you well know. It motivates me to keep doing these types of visits, these special ones. And I'm just going to say much love to all of you, because history matters, and it safely does on this one, doesn't it? Take care, everybody. And of course, I'll see you all very soon. You ready? Kapow. See ya.